Start.
Yes, I can. And so, continuing in the perfection and the consciousness of God, I, Luchan Baker, recognize there is only one life, one mind, one everything, one love. And in that love, I am declaring that we allow God to move through us and properly use us as the vessels we are for God's expression. I am truly thankful, and I release knowing all is well, and so it is. How's everybody doing? It is very, 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 very good to be home again. Talking to my church home of Oakland, CSL, where I was raised, where I got my foundation. I'm overjoyed at speaking and representing for us again. I wanted to address the title, One Love. First of all, shout out to Bob Marley, shout out to Houdini, shout out to E40, shout out to Nas, shout out to any other artist who has done a song, One Love. I love all those versions, and I feel that it is, number one, in alignment with our monthly theme of oneness, of unity and inclusion. And the other part of that is that I feel it's very relevant to what's going on right now with ideas of racial injustice and dealing with the pandemic and just dealing with so many things that's going on right now. I think it's important that we remember that there is only one life and that race is a myth. There is only one race in existence. We all know that there is only the human race. And though we know this, there are times in our life where we are invited to maybe believe something else. There are only two vibrations, love and fear. And we know that fear is the belief in separation. Hate, racism, sexism, so many other things, the core belief is fear. To love someone or something is to see it as an extension of yourself. Whenever we look at something and it sparks that love inside of us, where we are coming from is a place of seeing that and knowing that is an extension of ourselves. Hey, what's going on, Joan? Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith said that if you can see it, it is part of you. That has always stuck with me. If you can see it, it is part of you. Now, as people who are brand new to New Thought, a lot of times we may hear this idea that we are one with the universe and everything in it, and it gives us a sense of comfort, almost to the point to where it gets to be arrogant. So I'm one with that, and I'm one with this, and and you're right, but the other part we have to address is the part we're not so happy about, which is also that when we see something that we don't particularly like, see something in our lives that we don't particularly enjoy, or someone for that matter, we have to remember that we also are a part of that. As a matter of fact, we manifested it. We put that experience there. And it is up to us to decide to see the oneness in our lives in relating to that situation. What am I talking about here? I'm talking about someone talking really loud and vulgar in a public place and it's getting on your nerves. I'm talking about that boss or coworker that you cannot stand. I'm talking about that job you cannot stand. I'm talking about the person in the MAGA hat. Hey, the person in the saggy jeans, the person in the dashiki, whatever. If it is bothering you, there is a lesson to learn in that situation. What I really love about being a part of this philosophy, what I really love about speaking at Oakland CSL is I know I don't have to sugarcoat the truth. I know I can say the truth as raw and uncut as possible, and people will absorb it. So when I say that as practitioners of science of mind, that when we come across something that is bothering us and annoying us to high heck, I know that it doesn't bother anyone here to know that the truth is that we are the ones who get to adjust ourselves, not the person who we think should be adjusting themselves. Reverend Derica said everything is a part of your meditation, including the siren outside, including the crying baby in church. All of that is a part of the meditation. Silence is loud, so how does the loudness bother you? All of it is God. When there's something that is bothering us, we are the ones who get to adjust ourselves. The same thing is also for what we desire. Just as sometimes we can see someone and be intimidated, see someone and become annoyed, see someone and automatically put the separation between us and that. The same thing can be for the things that we desire. I've had many dreams, just like all of us. And there was always that moment after I was really fired up about my dream, was the next moment where it became such a huge dream that it frightened me. And I decided that I was me and this big old dream, that's something else. That's not me. That's not a part of my life. I spent much of my life running away from these visions, feeling as if they weren't a part of me and I was just some kid still dreaming. Your dream is supposed to frighten you. That's something else Reverend Derica taught me. Your dream is supposed to scare you because that's how great you are. That vision was assigned to you. It's supposed to frighten you. How else are you going to realize just how great you are? All you're doing when you're dreaming that big is expanding your comfort zone. It's all a part of you. This thing called oneness is a very tricky thing because there are always opportunities of distraction. By now, I've worn this analogy out, especially with Oakland CSL, because I've said it at home here so many times. But the truth is about my Where's Waldo idea. And just, anybody who doesn't remember it, I was going to take my son to a birthday party. We were looking for a card, and none of the cards in Target were really matching this kid's birthday and who this kid was. And then I found a Where's Waldo card. And all of us remember Where's Waldo. It was a book where every page you're trying to find Waldo and you circle him. And in that page, there's so many other things to distract you from finding Waldo. There's something funny. There's other people who look just like Waldo. There's other interesting things on the page. And if before you know it, you're doing everything except what you came here to do. And looking at that card, it reminded me that that's the same game we are playing with God. Every page in our life is a new opportunity to say, there you are, God. There you are right there. That page can be an illness in the body. That page can be somebody who's bothering us. That page can be our biggest and greatest fear. But what we get to decide is to see God right there on that page. There is no you and God. There is only God. God is scientific. And the universe is wide open. The universe is endless. The universe continues to expand out of itself forever and ever. There is no end. No matter what angle you are looking from, the universe is wide open. Why am I saying that? Well, that means that right now, where you sit, right in this very place you sit right now, you are the center of your universe. And everything in it is revolving around you right now in this moment. I understand why praying to and worshiping something outside of ourselves is so appealing. It takes the responsibility out of our life. I don't have to be responsible for what I'm seeing in my life if I make something outside of me what I am looking to. But the truth is, you are the God of your life. You are God, period. You are the only life you know. Therefore, this that you are experiencing is God expressing in and through and as you. The golden cow is worshiping anything outside of us. That's all that is. That's the analogy in that story. When we say one love, remember that we have to start with the one person we know. It's impossible to love anything if we don't have love in our heart, our own heart for ourselves. It's impossible. I'm actually realizing that the word selfish is not necessarily a bad thing because there's nothing we can do that isn't selfish. I take care of my children and I love my children because of how it makes me feel. So therefore, getting over this idea of being selfish is something that's needed. We can't not be selfish. Everything we do is for self. The universe is wide open, and that means that you are the center of your universe. God is scientific. There's no need to look for some mystery God in the sky. Yes, in Science of Mind, we do believe in the teachings of Jesus Christ, but what we really focus on is the consciousness. It's the Christ consciousness. Let's stop being afraid to say that we are God. You are God. Let's stop letting that be something that makes us feel uncomfortable. Who else is it going to be? Every word, every thought, every emotion, every action is an affirmation. And the universe only says yes. So that means that all that we see in our life, whether we like it or we not, is our doing. And that is a beautiful thing. We have the power to take dominion in our lives and to shape it as we wish. There is no difference between you and Jesus anyway. He said it. John 14:12. He said it. And I'm not at the point where I could just start quoting Bible scriptures out of the blue like that. I was supposed to write it down, but it was a crazy day at the office. But I did tell you where to find it at. John 14:12. He's telling us right there in plain words. You are exactly like me, and you'll do even greater things than me. That's why when others say Jesus is coming back soon, I'm not going to say it bothers me, but what I will say is, why don't we look in the mirror right now? Jesus hasn't gone anywhere. Jesus has not left. Jesus is right here in this moment. When we say Jesus is coming back, what we mean is the consciousness. There's a saying that I grew up hearing in my neighborhood of East Oakland. A lot of players and hustlers use this term. If you're good to the game will be good to you. And I'm sure we all know what the game is. Now we're talking about oneness here, so I know that we're intelligent enough to decipher the code I'm talking in. If you're good to the game will be good to you. I mean, that is Science of Mind right there. That's the universe we're talking about. We're talking about cause and effect. What we put in is what we get back. That's always it. We set the intention of what we want to feel. We are the umpires of our lives. We get to call it what we want to call it. All these things are connected. Everything is connected. Vibrations are a real thing. Though we may not physically be touching, there's energy around us. And we can use that energy. That's why an injustice to one is an injustice to all. We all feel that. That's a real thing. This is a beautiful opportunity right now in this moment, because we're all dealing with this pandemic. We're all learning how to adjust and live differently. We're all learning how to find comfort in this uncomfortable situation right now. And when it first happened, I won't lie, I started getting depressed. I started worrying. I started feeling very uncomfortable. And then I remembered that on some level, we all asked for this. I'm willing to bet that everyone tuning in right now asked to be their greatest self at one point in their life. I know I have. I might not have known what I was saying when I said it, but I did say it. And in order to be our greater selves, we have to be willing to have our comfort zones compromised. I can easily put my mask on and huff and puff and have an attitude when I go into the world. Or can I remember that there is only God, and whatever this situation is, it is a beautiful situation, and I can continue spreading love each and every time I step out that door. What we need more than anything are positive vibrations. What we need more than anything is people just in the same alignment and idea of this thing called oneness, of this thing called love. Love heals everything. Love is undefeated. You can't beat love. Nothing can exist without love anyway. If you don't believe me, try to pursue something, a career, a goal, anything, and your heart isn't in it. Try it. I feel sorry for those who live their life with hate at the forefront. Because the only real freedom that exists is love anyway. Hate puts us in prison. Misery loves company. And this is why someone who's miserable goes out with the intent of showing hate toward others. Because I want you to be miserable just like me too. It bothers me that you're not miserable like me. So let me find a way for you to feel what I'm feeling, which if you think about it is really just another altered way of showing love. I want you to feel what I'm feeling. I used to let haters get to me in that way. It used to really bother me that there could be groups dedicated to hate, dedicated to the hate of other people who don't look or think like they do. That used to really bother me. There's a few prison shows that I've stumbled across when there's nothing else to watch. I'm very much a square. A lot of my friends aren't, but I am. And I've always admired the guys I call the cool guys, the ones who've lived that lifestyle of playing the game. I'm much too fragile to play the game. And jail time frightens me. I'm gonna just be honest. That's really what kept me out the game. I can't do time. I'm sorry, I just can't. I like good food. I don't like people telling me what to do. I can't do it. In many of these shows, they like to show a lot of the white supremacists and how they operate and all the rules in jail. Something I didn't know was that you're not even allowed to talk to a Black person if you are a white supremacist in prison. You're not even allowed to speak to us. Now, they may kick it to the world. The narrative may be, well, because we're better than them and we don't need to speak to them. But I think that living that way only puts you in a deeper prison. You don't get to like anything but white stuff. I mean, I'm gonna just be honest, that kind of life is that? First of all, it's a lie. Because if you really study American history, you know that every time you stop at a traffic light, you're doing something a black man told you to do. We know white supremacist groups love gas masks. Anytime you put a gas mask on, you are saluting an invention that a black man gave you. I can go on and on and on and on about all these things. Here's what I'm saying is, I like to live free. There are too many foods, too much different kind of music, too much different kind of fashion and movies for me to only want to do black stuff. I want to live free. And the only way to truly live free is to live with love. Hate is a coward's game. Hate is just the easy way to go about it. Hate is convenience. We've all had our heart broke before. We've also seen that person who's now afraid of relationships and always tries to make others feel guilty for wanting to get in one, because what's really going on is you got your heart broke and now you're afraid. What kind of life is that? Mama told me, forgive the people you love in advance because eventually they will disappoint you. We are all human, and human error is a real thing. So even if I don't know you personally and you're expressing your frustrations with the world on me, I know you're not really mad at me. You just see me and this is your opportunity. You're mad at yourself. Jennifer Johns told me the only person we ever really need to forgive anyway is ourselves anyway. You think about it. You think about any time you felt betrayed by someone else, you're really mad at ourselves for putting ourselves in that situation. Everything starts with the one person you know best. Everything. Love is the only real freedom in existence. I've had racial experiences. I don't think all white people are bad. I've had unfair experiences with the police. I don't think all police are bad. I'm willing to check myself and to address every person and every situation accordingly. If I say idiot, first of all, just understand I'm talking about idiot consciousness, because we've all had idiot consciousness before. So with that being said, there are idiots in every group of people. And if I come across an idiot in some group of people, that doesn't mean the whole group is an idiot. That means that person is an idiot. If I disagree with you and I don't like you and we don't get along, it's not because you're white. It's because you and I don't get along. I'm not gonna stop loving all the white people who I love because I bumped heads with a white person. Now, as easy it is for us to say that, just let's understand that hate is a comfortable way of dealing with things. Instead of me looking at myself and saying, how did this situation happen? How can I take responsibility for this experience? It's easier to just be like, oh, well, you know, all those type of people are like that. See? Takes the responsibility off you. You don't have to look at yourself for that experience. We get to just be like, oh, well, you know, all these people are a certain way, so that's why I had that experience. It's really easy. It's a really easy way out. That's why I don't respect hate. That's why I don't. Our haters win when we give in to their nonsense anyway. That's what they want us to do. They want to hate your haters is exactly the trap they're trying to put us in. One of my favorite rappers is Thurston Howell III, the crazy Puerto Rican from Brooklyn. He said, if misery loves company, prepare the guest room. That's a hater's mentality. He was making fun of that. He was talking about how when people are angry and just frustrated and they see you winning, what they really want to do is to distract you from your greatness. Honestly, I think our haters are the best thing that happened to us. I think they are. We get to know if we really want to step into our God self, whatever our heart is calling us to be. Remember, there are going to be haters right there to distract us from it. They're in your family. They're outside your family. You cannot get away from it because they are our own manifestation. If you can see it, it is a part of you. There is a next level in consciousness, though. That level is when you are so full of love, you forget that there are people out there who don't like you. I'm trying to reach that level to where you're like, do you really still see your haters? You still got haters? I forgot I even had those. Where you just know anything that anyone says in acknowledgement to you is loving. I don't care how hateful it sounds. You're so full of God at that point that anything someone says to you, you're either going to laugh at it or say thank you because you take it as a compliment. I've always had this dream of being a quarterback. Even now, I'll be 50 next March. I mean, I'll be 40 next March. Wow, I just said 50. I'll be 40 next March, and I still have that quarterback dream. And once I saw what quarterbacks had to do, I was pretty much like, that's all right. What I'm knowing is I only like the one part of that dream of hiking the ball and throwing winning touchdowns or scrambling out the pocket and running the ball in myself. And that's the only part I saw. I didn't see the other part where, if your team wins the game and you're the quarterback, they're going to say you won the game. Flip side to that is you could have played the best game of your life and the rest of your team could have been garbage. If y'all lose, you're the quarterback, so it's your fault. Oh, that's a real thing in the football world. And that's too much pressure. I didn't want that. In order to truly love anything, we have to love all of it. See, someone who really loves playing quarterback, someone who really loves the position of quarterback, loves that part of it. They love every part of it. Even the big, scary dude who's 3 times his size running at him full speed, screaming with his hands up, about to knock him in the dirt. He loves that part too. You don't get to play football and not love getting hit. You in the wrong game. That's the best part. If we love the people we love in our life, we remember we have to love the part of them that's not so easy to be around as well. I love my mama dearly. I love my mother dearly. I'm not going to sit here in front like she don't get on my nerves sometimes. And I'm telling you right now, she would tell you the exact same thing about me. But I love all of my mom, even the part that gets on my nerves, because that's what love is. It's loving all of it. We all want to be loved for who we are. We all want to be forgiven for the things that are not so in alignment with everyone else, but yet who's willing to forgive? I want to be forgiven, which means that I have to be the first one to forgive when someone disappoints me. See, this is one love consciousness. This is knowing that all of you is God, and I love all of you. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that if someone keeps disappointing you, that you keep letting them back in your life. I don't have to have you in my life daily for me to love you. I can come to that realization that, you know what, you and I just, we're not really working that way mathematically, and maybe it's best we love each other from afar. That doesn't mean that every time I think of you, I'm not hoping that you're getting the most out of your life. That doesn't mean I stop praying for you and stop sending you positive energy. Just means that, it's probably best we stay away from each other. Just because I forgive you don't mean you get the keys to the car again. It just means I love you, and I hope you find a car of your own. There is only one love. Love is such a tool, and is the most powerful tool known on this planet. I think back on my times when I was in my 20s and in my teens and was very arrogant and didn't really look at the world as I do now. I remember when I was trying to get to San Francisco via the bus. I didn't want to take BART for some reason. I think I had like an audition out in San Francisco, and I was trying to figure out how to get there by bus. Anyway, there's a bus driver sitting, I guess on his break or whatever. I'm trying to talk to him. And as soon as I tap the window, he just goes, "What do you want, man? Leave me alone." It's like, okay, that's a little rude, but I said, "Yes, sir, I'm just trying to figure out some directions. Where do you want to go?" And as soon as I start talking, I said, "Well, can you tell me?" He goes, "No, I don't know, man. Leave me alone." And I was like, all right, that's kind of rude. Okay. I think about 1920, and I was a little wild back then. So I won't say exactly what I said to him, but I asked him why he was acting like a certain kind of noun that I used, which resulted in him turning and looking at me and putting up a certain finger that exists on his hand there. I think we all have the same reaction when we get flipped off. We're always in awe, and then we always ask if this is really happening. So I'm like, and I say, "For real?" And he looks at me like, yeah, for real. Like, this finger right here in your face, right? Well, had I known better then, I'd have been able to see through what was going on. He was having a bad day. He was trying to give someone else his bad day because he was in a hateful state of mind in that moment. But I was too young. I was too ignorant to know that. So I gave in, and I sat right there in that moment having an argument with this bus driver. I realized that as I was getting more mad, he was getting more happy. He was entertained at the fact that he was able to make me angry in that moment. And just like that, we traded days. He was now having a good day, and I was having a terrible one. And I know he was, because later on in the day, I saw him driving in another direction. He had a big old smile on his face. Like, how did he do that? When we stay full of God, when we stay full of love, there is nothing that can derail us and take us off our center. Doesn't mean we're not going to have days that try our faith, that try us in any kind of way. It means that we get through it a lot more graceful. Love conquers everything. There are those who just are the life of the party, and just wherever they go, they have people loving them and people love being around them. That's an inside job. All they simply did was get to know themselves and fall in love with themselves. How can anyone else love you if you don't? I'm thinking about all the times when I was just a shy kid, and I might see that girl over there and be interested, but be too afraid to say anything because I'm judging myself. "Oh, dude, you lame. Look at your clothes. Your jokes aren't even that funny. When you gonna close that space in your teeth?" I used to say all that. Now, if I'm already telling that to myself, then what do you think she's gonna see as soon as I open my mouth? You can't hate anybody without hating yourself first. It goes the same way. That's why hate groups, it seems like, oh, we're a family and we're a gang and we love. No, you don't. Because the moment someone in that group of yours shows love to any of those groups that you're supposed to hate, now all of a sudden you're not in the group anymore, which means that wasn't real love in the first place. I got blood family members I can't stand. They're still my family. I still love them and I still do anything for them. That's what real love is. Doesn't mean I like you. It means I love you. It goes a lot deeper. We don't have to like each other. But what if we put love out in the atmosphere? What if we stop judging each other by appearance? What if we leave the house with so much love in our heart, just our presence alone heals all that come within contact with us? What if we are the ones to say, you know what, I'll be the first to spark that consciousness that changed the world into what I want to see it? It's really that easy. I went to a party in high school, and there was this kid at that party who was a little bit different than the rest of us. You know, he just kind of behaved a little differently, and, you know, he was different. And the girls weren't really feeling him like that. So, you know, the real music is getting the girls to really start dancing. Is, you know, the DJ's playing the real heavy ones now. He's letting us know, hey, I'm making this party jump. You brothers better stop being afraid, right? So, of course, it was a normal thing. As soon as that part of the party starts happening, you and all the other fellas go into the bathroom to make sure your hairline is straight and make sure there's no lint on your clothes and, you know, make sure your breath is smelling heavenly and all that, right? So we're doing that. And I remember it was just me and that weird kid. And he's looking in the mirror and he turns back and looks at me and said, yeah, these girls ain't feeling me now, but watch what happens a little bit later. And I'm like, whatever, dude. You know what I mean? I'm about to go dance. So I leave him by himself. I go out there. I tell you, within 3 songs after that little meeting we had, that brother was right. I don't know what he did in that bathroom, but he was right. He was full of so much life and so much love and so much joy that you could not possibly not want to know this dude. He brought so much life and love into that party that he was a hit. It's that easy. It's that easy to just pour love on all situations. I was that kid that would purposely dress in a way to make others afraid of me. I was that kid. I was that kid who used to talk really loud to get attention and to alarm people. What I really wanted was love. That's why I love the kid who always tries to be like that. Be it in our youth and family group, be it in any situation. I know what you're trying to do, kid. I was you. You ain't fooling me. Come here and give me a hug. It's the 25th anniversary of one of my favorite albums of all time, Only Built for Cuban Links by Raekwon from Wu-Tang Clan. And I remember looking at the YouTube video that Raekwon posted where he was talking to all the people who were involved with this project. The reason why this is significant to what we're talking about right now is people don't know the backstory, which is Raekwon's right-hand man, which is Ghostface Killah. They grew up in 2 different projects, 2 rival projects in Staten Island, New York. One was from Park Hill Projects. The other one was from Stapleton Projects. And this is a long, long rivalry. And these 2 dudes were actually always shooting at each other and at each other's necks. Like every time they saw each other, it was on sight. And the RZA, for all you guys who don't know who the RZA is, he's the one who did all the music to both Kill Bills by Quentin Tarantino. Very talented person. He's the one who put the Wu-Tang Clan together. And he was like, listen, I need y'all to squash this. There's something bigger here that I have for both of you. And I need both of you on board, which means that whatever differences you have to stop it now. You have to forgive each other. I believe one had shot the other one at one time. And so what ends up happening is these brothers slowly start putting their guard down. At first it was funny, they said it. You know, they've interviewed so many other members of Wu-Tang Clan was like, oh no, the tension was real. I used to hate when both of them would be in the studio at the same time because I didn't know what was gonna happen. These dudes were at each other's neck. Little by little, they start putting their guard down. And of course, we already know what ends up in that situation is not only do they end up liking each other little by little, they start realizing, dang, you and I are actually pretty dang similar. Without going too much more into the story, what I will say is that album became a classic. It's something that I always can put in and just let play. Till this day, I don't know if I've ever listened to that album and skipped past any song or interlude or skit or any of that. The reason why is because they put love in their situation. And with love, you come up with a masterpiece out of nowhere like that. Hate is selling ourselves short. You can't do anything with hate. It doesn't last. All hate really is anyway is saying, hey, I still haven't figured out my greatness yet. I still haven't figured out my purpose. Please let me distract you from you finding yours so I don't have to feel salty that you found yours and I haven't yet. And when we give in to a hater's tactics, that's exactly what we're doing. We're giving away our power. No, let's flip that. Oh, you think you hate me, huh? You think you hate me? Oh, okay. Well, watch this. You really finna hate me next. You know what I mean? Forget that. The best thing we can do for a hater is to continue shining and continue letting our God presence illuminate all that's in our path. Trust me, they'll convert eventually. A hater wants to be converted. That's why they're so hard on you. They want you to convert them, but they are the ones who are going to make it the hardest because they'll know if you can win me over, you are destined for greatness. A hater is the best thing that can ever happen to you, which is why we're supposed to love our haters. Don't hate them. Forgive them. Forgive them. And honestly, I think deep down you understand them. If you knew just how awesome you were, you might be a hater towards yourself too. Look at how awesome you are. Look at what you've gone through and came through beautifully. Look at it. Just sit and think about what you've overcome. You are amazing. You are God in the flesh. And anybody who doesn't believe that about themselves, of course, they're going to come at you with some negativity. Of course. But you think higher than that because you are thinking from your God self. It is our responsibility to love hard and to only use love as the way we navigate through this thing called life. It is our responsibility. All hate does is take us off our center. You have been given specific instructions from the source, from the creator, from the universe, from whatever word or terminology you use to choose. You have been given direct instructions. You and you only have these instructions. And when you get caught up with trying to fight with haters, you derail yourself. And we delay the energy in the universe. We need that energy to circulate. Someone needs to see you kicking butt in this lifetime. Somebody's watching you. And they need to see you kick butt so they'll have the courage to do the same thing and do it better. We don't serve ourselves or the world when we play into that. There is only one love. There's only one life. We are all connected. Another thing I like thinking about is I had this job I couldn't stand. And I was really treating that job like whatever, I can't stand this job and, this and that. And it got to the point to where they're like, hey, we could tell your attitude to this job has changed. Oh, man, it's funny how wild I used to be. I'm actually kind of shocked that I was acting this way. But they called me in the office and I already had my arms folded and was already slouching in the chair, was already ready to spew at them how much I hated the job, how I won't need the job anymore because I'm going to be a famous rapper and go 1,000,000 times platinum. And, this is how I'm feeling. But something in me was like, wait a minute, before you do that, let's remember the state of mind you were in before you had that job. Let's remember how much you needed that job. Let's remember how much you prayed you got that job because you had nothing else and you needed a job. Let's not forget that you are in this seat right now because you needed a job. And as much as you dislike that job now because you may have outgrown it, they gave you that job. They gave you an opportunity. And I had to check myself. Yes, maybe you've outgrown this job and it's time for you to move on. But if you move on, let's move on in love. I had to put my ego aside and smooth over the situation by bringing love into that room. Long story short, I ended up with a raise. And I stayed there another 5 years, even though I couldn't stand the job, really. It's like, hey, It's pretty much God plays practical jokes on me all the time. I'm just tell you the truth. I don't know how God treats you, but I know God with me. God has a sixth sense of humor with me. So, you know, that's just how it is. I know a lot of people don't like hearing the God plays practical jokes, but as tough as I like to act, I'm really a wimp, especially when it comes to pain. Recently, my job was making it mandatory that we all take COVID tests. And my scary butt was thinking about the actual Q-tip test where they, go all up into your past thoughts, all through the nose and do the whole total recall treatment. And that's what I'm thinking they're about to do. So I'm calling my boss. I'm crying to my mom, crying to my wife, like, hey, if they make me do that, I'm gonna quit. Because I can't handle pain like that. And I'm being proactive about letting people know, hey, if I can't do the spit test, I'm not doing the nostril test. You're gonna have to fire me. And when I'm telling my boss this, he's actually I can tell he's trying not to laugh at me on the phone. He's trying to stay professional. So we do a Zoom meeting, and he asked in the Zoom meeting, hey, there's someone who's a part of the team who was worried about the kind of tests we're getting and blah, 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 and this and that. And the person said, oh no, they don't even do that type of test anymore. Now it's just, just in your nostril, and it's not the invasive test anymore. And so all I'm saying is that once I realized that was going on, I just kind of heard God laughing at me saying, see, boy, had you stopped being so scary and stopped being such a wimp, had you not had faith in me, your whole team wouldn't know what a wimp you are now. Your wife wouldn't be laughing at you. And, that's pretty much it. I don't like people know when I'm scared, and now the whole world knows because I sound the alarm. And those are the practical jokes that get played on me when I stop being aware of my God power. At this moment, I just want to thank everybody for sharing this moment with me. I am overjoyed at being a part of this center. People don't know the history that Oakland CSL has. There are so many other Science of Mind and New Thought churches that have manifested all over Oakland. And if you know the history like I do, because I literally watched it happen, you know that it all started at our center. Every last one of them. It started with our center. So just coming back home, back to where I'm from, back to everything that is me, is such a full circle story that it overwhelms me with joy. And the fact that I get to share that with all of you is even more beautiful. I love all of you for holding me up. I love all of you for supporting me. I especially love all of you who check me when I get out of line and lovingly let me know, hey, listen, homie, like, yeah, you might be Luchan and all that, but here you were part of the village, so you don't fall back. I need that. Of course, I need that. I know my personality can need taming at times, and I love that all of you love me enough to do that. That's what family is. We don't always like each other, but we do love each other, and I feel nothing but love from all of you, and I thank you. And so in this moment, as we relax and remember our God presence, knowing that there is no place anywhere in the universe that God is not. So right where we sit, we are God expressed in, through, and as ourselves. And that is a beautiful thing. I speak my word knowing that we continue seeing each person, each situation, each thing as an expression of our God selves, and we put love forward, knowing that love is undefeated and all is well. I release and I let go, and so it is.